Okay, it's first thing on a Sunday morning, and I'm out searching for my missing bike. I need to go west, I think. It's got to be a bit of a walk, maybe over to the north a bit. This way, I think. Hey everyone, I'm Tom, and this is Shifter, a channel about urban cycling, bike commuting, and the ways we get around our cities. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, and if you really like it, maybe hit that super thanks button. So you know what I'm doing right now? I'm tracking my missing bike. I've done a few videos recently about bike theft, which is a problem in every city in the world, basically. And one of the issues that's cropped up the last couple of years is the potential of location tracking on our bikes to help deal with bike theft. And I've kind of danced around this issue, but never sort of hit it straight on. So today I'm doing a deep dive into location tracking, and that's what I'm doing right now, trying to find my missing bike. But before we get started, let's back up a little bit. Okay, here's the basics. Bike theft is a horrible, undervalued, underappreciated problem in our society that does more damage than people appreciate. And part of the problem is it's just so hard to stop. I've done a number of videos on this recently. I'm not going to rehash sort of the basic issue, so I'll link some of those in the description down below. And for a number of years, there's been lots of talk about how location tracking on bikes might help deal with this problem. The idea is that if your bike gets stolen and you can track it using your phone, that you'll be able to get your bike back really easily. This was not a widely accepted idea until this thing came out, the Apple AirTag. Now the AirTag, of course, was not the first location tracking device to come out that you could use with your phone, but they've become kind of ubiquitous here in North America. They're pretty cheap, they're easy to use, and they're pretty accurate when it comes to tracking location. And I know all kinds of people who are using AirTags on their bike now. There's all kinds of products that allow you to affix an AirTag to your bike. Almost everyone I know is using one now. And other companies have even developed different devices that use Apple's Find My network since it's been opened up. The device that's on my bike now is the Scout by Knog. I can track it on my iPhone just like I would an AirTag. It's also got a built-in alarm, so it's like a real anti-theft device intended for bikes. I've also used Tile, which is a similar device, but you can use across devices. It's not just for Apple, you can also use it on your Android device. But I've always been a bit on the fence about location tracking for a number of reasons. This way. Shit, now what? This looks like the place, but now what do I do? Okay, and now we see some of the problems with location tracking. So my phone has led me to this apartment building. Now what do I do? It seems like my bike is inside. Do I buzz every door, asking politely if they've got my bike? Do I break into the building and start kicking down doors? Do I call the police? I mean, this is where my hesitation around location tracking comes from partly. This leads to all kinds of interesting questions like, is this safe? Is this legal? Is this the right moral thing to do? I mean, I know we all love to celebrate people who steal their bikes back from thieves, but on some level, it's a bit Batman. I'm Batman. And it's a bit vigilante, which is probably not the best thing in our society. And even if you don't go Batman on the bike thief and you call the cops, are the police going to come? Is this a priority for them? Is a judge going to give a warrant to enter a private residence? How do you even prove it's your bike? And beyond that, at a bigger philosophical level, one of my problems with location tracking is that it doesn't actually help prevent bike theft. It helps in the recovery of a stolen bike, which is great, don't get me wrong. But if we really want to solve bike theft and make it safer and easier for people to ride their bikes, because I know there are a ton of people out there who don't ride their bikes in cities because they're afraid of them getting stolen. If we really want to deal with that, prevention is the real solution, not just recovering your bike after it's already been stolen. Putting a hidden AirTag on your bike so you can recover your bike after it's been stolen feels a bit to me like not ever changing the oil on your car, but then paying your mechanic to fix your seized engine. It just seems a little backwards. And I promise that's the last time I will use an automobile metaphor on this channel. So last summer, I asked these similar questions to the guy who may be the world's foremost expert on bike theft, Rob Brunt. He's a former Vancouver police detective. He now works for Project 529, an organization that tries to stop bike theft. And here's what he said in the summertime.
Problem with GPS is the error factor on it. So I live in a townhouse complex. If I go find my phone, it'll give me maybe my neighbor's place or my neighbor's across from me. So for policing now, how do I get a warrant to come? Your Honor, I'm guessing it's maybe that house or that house or that house, right? And we don't want to live in a society where the police can just enter for any purpose. I think eventually the tech will get there, but right now it's not.
Now, I called Rob last week just to see if anything has changed since we last talked in the summertime, and he basically said the same questions still arise in his mind. But when we drill down a bit deeper, he basically said, yes, there are some big questions around this. But when it comes down to it, he knows most people just want to get their bike back, and they're not concerned about these big questions, and so he doesn't blame people for putting location tracking on his bike. Also, in case you're wondering, this is a skating rink. There's just nobody here yet this morning. I don't live in a frozen wasteland. This is a skating rink. But that's not the end of it. There are other ways of using location tracking, and one of the more interesting ones that I've seen is from a bike company called VanMoof. Now, they're pretty active in Europe, and they're in, I think, 4 US cities right now as well. Here's how the program works. You pay a monthly fee, and then if, God forbid, your bike gets stolen, you call the company and the VanMoof bike hunters get on the job. Basically, they use location tracking that is built into the bike, and they go out and they actually try to find your bike and recover it on your behalf. I called the company for some details, and here's what they said.
I'm Austin Derling. I'm the US PR manager for VanMoof, the Dutch e-bike brand. Yeah, so our bike hunters are a team of that we have at VanMoof that really dedicate their time to helping our riders track their bikes down. They will basically go out and ride around using some proprietary technology that we have and basically find the bike for you, or do their best to find the bike for you. We can usually tell where the bike is within a certain radius, and then these guys are trained really to look out for the bikes and know the best ways to kind of get them back from thieves in a generally smooth way. What we're really trying to do is just get the bikes back. We're not interested in really the criminal aspect of it and pressing charges and any sort of that element. We're really just trying to get the bike back in the hands of the rightful owner. So it's really an exercise in some cases of just trying to sort of keep things calm, keep things smooth, and make sure that, and most people are pretty amenable once they get caught because they're a little bit embarrassed that they've gotten caught stealing a bike. So it's fairly easy for our bike hunters to just get the bikes back and get them back to the person that had it stolen. Yeah, so on average, we recover about 70% of the bikes that are lost, and then the other 30%, if we don't find your bike within 2 weeks, we'll replace the bike for you.
In some ways, the bike hunters are doing probably what you think you would imagine yourself doing if you had a location tracker on your bike, but it's definitely not without risk. Austin says that the bike hunters are trained in de-escalation and they just walk away if things get too hairy, but there's definitely risk involved.
Do they have a dangerous job?
I don't think that they would say that they do. I think most of the people that I've talked to who've done it say that it's relatively, that it feels safe and also rewarding that you're getting bikes back for people.
I'd say the bike hunters is also a bit of a marketing thing for VanMoof. Knowing that there is a team out there that will try to get your stolen bike back is a pretty good value add if you're considering different bike brands, even if it does come with an extra fee. And incidentally, that extra fee does feel a bit to me like bike insurance, which is also something you can just buy in many jurisdictions. And as far as marketing goes, I also think that it would work because eventually thieves are starting to learn that VanMoofs are more hassle than they're worth to steal. Which also helps out the brand. So I'm of two minds on this approach by VanMoof. On one level, it's great. I think anyone who can get their bike back after it's stolen is fantastic. And when your bike gets stolen, you don't care about anything else. You just want your bike back. But on a second level, this is great for VanMoof customers, but it's not exactly dealing with the problem on a societal level, right? Great for VanMoof. What about the rest of us? Which brings us back to the original question about the viability of location tracking in reducing bike theft. So here's what I think. Location tracking is definitely not the silver bullet that some people think it is, but I do see a couple of positive signs. One is that at least we're starting to talk about bike theft now. I feel like for too long we've been just totally indifferent to it. We've just accepted it as the cost of living in a city, which I think is totally wrong. And secondly, I see lots of potential for location tracking, but I think it needs to move beyond just being a tool to help recover bikes to being more of a preventative strategy. If more bike companies were doing things like VanMoof, or if all of us were using location tracking and just made it a little bit harder to steal a bike, it might help. I mean, right now, it's just so easy to steal a bike and get away with it. It's almost a crime without consequence in many cities. I also expect location tracking to improve, so we're going to get better and better at tracking them using location tracking. But the best solution ultimately, I think, is if location tracking can be built into a citywide anti-bike theft program. And the best that I've seen is the one run by Project 529 and Rob Brunt, who we met earlier. Now you should go watch my other videos if you're interested, but the basics of this is that a comprehensive program that is led by the police but involves bike shops, community organizations, festival organizers, retail stores, everyone coming together to do the basic things to prevent bike theft. It works. It's been proven to work in Vancouver. Bike theft is down double-digit percentages over the years, and it's the only thing I've seen to make such an impact. If you can add location tracking to that as a recovery piece and as a preventative piece, if thieves know that bikes are being tracked, they may think twice about it. Then we're talking about what might be a real game changer here. And look, I got my bike back. It's recovered. And you know, it wasn't actually stolen. I just did that to prove a point. But I'm the exception. Almost everyone I know has had a bike stolen at some point. And so after all of this, what am I going to do personally around location tracking and preventing my bike from being stolen? Well, a bunch of things. Number one, I'm just going to continue to practice good bike security. I'm going to make sure my bike is locked with a good quality lock everywhere I go, in a good visible location with lots of people around. If I'm taking my really expensive bikes out, I probably won't leave them. Unfortunately, I just won't lock them anywhere. Number two, I'm going to continue to register all of my bikes with an online bike database. I prefer 529 Garage, but you can also use Bike Index. They're actually linked together, so if you register in one, it'll appear in the other. And this is in case my bike is stolen and the police recover it, they're more likely to be able to find me as the original owner and get it back to me. Number three is I'm going to keep advocating for a comprehensive anti-bike theft program across the city. The best one I've seen is Project 529. It's had great success in Vancouver, and it's starting to pick up in other cities as well. And the key component is some dedicated municipal money to run the program, and the police have to be an important part of it. A dedicated police officer in each city is super important. So keep advocating for that in your city. And yes, I think I will continue to use location tracking on my bike. I'm going to continue to use my Knog Scout, and I'm going to keep it visible because I think it is a bit of a deterrent to people. I also sort of like this idea of having a visible location tracker and a hidden location tracker in your bike. This one I think a thief could probably just smash off with a hammer, even though it is on there pretty securely. But if you have a second one as a backup, that might help as well. That might be overkill, but that's something I'm going to think about. And so I think I will integrate location tracking into my bike security measures.
A few moments later.
One thing that dawned on me while I was making this video is that the changes that Apple recently made to its AirTags to reduce stalking may have also reduced its utility as an anti-bike theft measure. So now when an AirTag is with you and it moves away from the phone it's connected to, it lets out an alert. And this is for good reason, because people were slipping AirTags into the purses of women they were stalking, which is horrible. But now if someone steals your bike and there's an AirTag on it, they'll get a notification, they'll get a sound that alerts them to the fact that there's an AirTag on the bike. So, you know, it's probably a good thing that Apple did, but also just may not be as useful as an anti-bike theft thing. Just thought I'd point that out. And what does happen if my bike gets stolen? Well, the first thing I'll do is report it to police. It's important to report your stolen bike, even if you think the police are not going to do anything, because they do collect data at the very minimum, and we need better data about bike theft. So report your bike. Beyond that, honestly, I'm not sure what I'll do. If I have it on my phone, the location, and I know where my stolen bike is, I don't know what I'll do. Hopefully I'm never in that situation, but if I am, I'll let you know what happens. So that's where I'm at right now with location tracking on bikes. But this is a new issue. It's going to continue to evolve. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear more thoughts out there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.